Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Strategizing Legally, Leading Globally. We have with us Richa Bharadwaj, Legal Counsel at Tekmonks. Richa has expertly navigated global M&A, SaaS agreements, and tech transactions across jurisdictions including the US, UK, and APAC. From GDPR to governance, her legal acumen is as sharp as it is expansive. So get ready for an insightful dive into legal leadership, international business strategy, and a whole lot of caffeine-fueled candor. So welcome, Richa, to today's coffee conversation.
Calling me or for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, cool. So let me explain you the process. There are three rounds: professional journey, personal journey, and rapid fire round where you will be in the hot seat and uh, yeah, you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And here's your book, League
Nice.
Startup AI. Sorry, Shaping Agency Lawyer. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation, legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Richa, how was the journey shaped up, and what are the key defining moments you had?
So the journey has shaped up pretty well. I started my career with litigation. I worked across courts in Bombay, Delhi, some courts outside Delhi, and it was purely litigation. Then during COVID, I shifted to an in-house role where I'm working now. And in between, during the same time, I got interested in cyber law and data privacy, data protection, the technology part of the law, and I started pursuing it as education-wise. I just completed my master's from OP Jindal.
That's interesting. Okay. Risha, can you walk us through a moment when your legal advice directly influenced a key business decision?
Yeah, so initial part of my career, I advised on a governing law clause where the parties were doing choice of law, and it was a big serious, big serious contract. So the parties ended up choosing a jurisdiction. It was an international transaction, so parties ended up choosing it. There was a jurisdiction issue between London and Singapore and Dubai. So parties ended up choosing Singapore, and when there was an actual dispute that happened, it happened in Singapore, and thankfully the arbitration proceeded pretty smoothly. So
Wow.
it was interesting.
So, Richa, having worked with stakeholders from finance to compliance, what's your approach to collaborative legal leadership?
I believe that leadership should usually what happens in a lot of domains is that legal is taken as a hindrance, and they are put up as stopgaps, and they come to us at the last minute when something has happened and they just want to close the deal, and they'll be like, please finish this as soon as possible. We have to close the deal. We have to sign the documents today itself. And you get the document at 1 o'clock, and then they're asking you to sign it at 4. You have to sign it at 4 o'clock, and then when you browse through the contract, you see indemnity is haywire. Then governing law is haywire, and so many things are haywire. And you want to, when you point it out to them, they'll be like, "You're just creating an issue for us." But then that's not an issue. We are trying to actually stop any issues from happening. So my suggestion is that try involving legal since the beginning, so that we can give you an advice in the beginning at the major milestones in the conversations when the business is developing, and the you're strategizing and negotiating, and not at the last minute, so that we also have a room for discussion. And sometimes we don't get a lot of background, so I actually have to ask people, can you please give me the whole background Just not give me the contract and give me the whole background, because it's very difficult to work in a vacuum.
Yeah, agreed. Okay. So, continuing conversation, you have worked on multi-jurisdictional US, UK, APAC. Uh, so, how do you navigate the cultural differences and what do you say, the language? Because there there is a different style of language.
Yeah.
So, what is the strategy by you bring all on one table and there is one goal to be achieved?
So, um, apart from the language barrier, if it comes at all, mostly it doesn't come. But if at all, sometimes if we are working for a company, then they give us a contract in Japanese, or they give us a contract in a in a in their in that country's language. Then first major issue becomes is translating the document. We get the document translated either through Google, either through a software or through a trusted translator. Then to understand the whole nuance, because when the language shifts, nuances of the words also changes. So you have to take something very similar words so that the nuances are not lost. Then we also involve people from the core teams from the within the country, so that we can explain what we are saying and make them read the language portion and see if the both things are making the sense in the same way that we want to translate into. Second thing is, if there are sometimes what happens is that it all depends on business deals and who to bring in. So you have to understand where sometimes the egos are very fragile. Sometimes people don't want to listen to you. Sometimes it's gender barrier. Sometimes it's race barrier. So you have to bring, since so we have a lot of people within the company whom we can find, who can come and who can come and help us with all that. But we have to be very mindful of whom we are bringing in, and who are sitting on the table to get the final deals hammered.
Ah, beautiful. Okay. So, with your IP and contract negotiation background, how do you balance protecting innovation while ensuring commercial flexibility?
So what I prefer is that IP, the major things should be protected, like all the copyrights, innovations, and trademarks, and all these kinds of things should be protected. And then there should be some flexibility, and then look for the room for collaboration, that there is flexibility of usage rights, and we can tailor down the indemnities. We can ensure that there are suitable exit strategies, that if something is not working out, parties can move out. Then there are clauses which operate post termination, like confidentiality, some clauses on data protection, some clauses on non-compete and everything. So so that our um, main main asset is protected and information is protected,
Wow.
while also giving room for flexibility of maneuvering around.
Beautiful. So, Richa, how do you integrate legal risk mitigation into the fast paced world of tech innovation?
That is to read a lot. And now the issue is that I graduated in 2009. That time, if you go and find jobs on LinkedIn, you could hardly find any jobs on LinkedIn. Today, if you just write the word jobs, you get 20,000 posts, and you have to filter through the information. So what I'm trying to say is that there is no dearth of information today, but there is a dearth of authenticity of the information. So you have to see what you're reading. There are a lot of trusted blogs that I rely on to read on the legal aspects. Like there's Lexology, there is Mondac, Um, there are certain tech websites that I go and visit and read up. Then I'm blessed in a way that my sister is an engineer. So if I fall if there are any technical wordings which I do not understand, then it's Chat GPT. First, my sister. If my sister doesn't have time, then Chat GPT.
That's interesting. Okay. Thank you for leading me to the next question.
Thank you.
How is AI and technology impacting the drafting, legal research, and how have you adapted and your team both together?
So AI is a boon and bane, both rolled in one. So we've all heard about AI hallucination and what have been the ramifications of that. So apart from that, at the same time, for things which we are not known to, things which we have never heard of, because nobody can know it all. So in those areas, if you put down a question through AI, at least you get the research material handy, what you have to read on, what you have to go through. Then you start building upon that. And on drafting, if you give command to AI to draft, they will give you a basic structure which you can develop and build on. But on research, I do not trust AI wholly. I trust AI to give me a foundation, which I on my team will build up later on.
That's beautiful. Agreed. So, what's your philosophy on legal tech adoption in contract lifecycle management?
I think it's a beautiful time for AI and technology to work together collaboratively. And like there have been times when we are not able to draft a very strategic clause in a very pinpointed manner. So we ask AI for help, and then when we look at our draft and AI's draft, we can see what all is there. We can look at the sample. So there are a lot of websites which provide sample drafts. So we can go when we compare all the three, we can see where our difference are lying and how we can cement all the three together and build a uh, uh, type-proof contract management lifecycle.
Wow. So, what's been the challenging case and how did you navigate and what were the key learnings, Richa?
So this is a tough one. So without taking any names, in my career, we had taken a case, and what had happened was um, this didn't come to us fully, and on there was a POA, and the second page of the POA was changed, and it went before the court. It was with a sworn affidavit and everything, and then the other side had a huge time because it was against an earlier affidavit, and they got a chance to file a case for perjury. uh, I moved on from that case before it reached its final result, but to navigate that first few months of your client going to jail for committing perjury was a tough one.
Wow.
So basically, but we learned that before filing anything, you should be very thorough with your papers.
That's very true. Yes. Research work is very important and all the information has to be needed. Otherwise, anything can happen.
And no lawyer can say that, this happened by mistake. You should take ownership of that. And on that note, something very funny happened, if I can share. Like, it was my mistake. I drafted a wrong affidavit. The cost title of the affidavit and the affidavit was totally one cost title was from a different matter, and the affidavit was a altogether different matter. So it went through series of people. It went through me, it went through my boss, it went through our clerks, it went through the other side, not other side but our clients who signed it. Nobody looked at it. And when a 3 days before, when we were filing, the matter was listed before Justice Lodha in Court 4, in Court 5. And a very senior counsel was leading us in the matter. And when I opened the file, I saw what was my mistake. Now, I was scared because that could mean I would lose my job. But anyway, I owned it up, and since it was not pointed out by anybody and it was found by us only, thankfully, not found by anybody else, because that could have huge ramifications. We were filing a very wrong affidavit, and affidavit is a very important document in a matter. So we requested the client, we explained the client everything. We requested for a fresh affidavit. We took the liberty of the court. We filed a fresh affidavit, and thankfully, by grace of God, Justice Lodha allowed us to file the fresh affidavit, and we didn't have to bear any costs. But the learning was never cut copy paste.
So, Richa, who has influenced you or has been a mentor from the legal world?
So I have biggest legal mentor, ethics wise and wise, is Mr. Buddy Rangnathan and Mr. Parisha. Mr. Parisha, I started my career with Mr. Shah, and Mr. Buddy Rangnathan, he taught me a lot about research, litigation, a lot of it. And last year, I think he got designated as a senior counsel. So both of them are my mentors. His father was also one of the biggest mentors, but unfortunately he passed on. He taught me a lot about the ethics, sincerity, about the court craft, about understanding the small things that matter in court, which nobody tells us, was the one Mr. Rangam taught me.
Wow. Okay. That was you receiving mentorship. Let's go to your role. If you have to mentor a young lawyer looking to break into a corporate in-house role, what's one piece of advice you would give?
So I'll tell them, take a niche, whatever they want. If they want to excel in IPR, if they want to excel in DPDP Act, whatever they want to, be the master of the act. Know the act like the back of your hand. Have a copy of the act with you at all times. Read it very thoroughly. Read the judgments. Not only that, now since the world is expanding, we are and in tech law we actually deal with a lot of cases from outside jurisdictions also. So whatever you can, familiarize yourself with. Do not spend a single day without reading something about your field of law. Spend Mr. Arvind Datar, a few years ago gave a lecture, and he said, to master anything, you should spend 10,000 hours doing that same thing again and again. So I would say that I would pass on the same advice and say, read every day at least for 1 hour on the same topic, because every time you read a piece of legislation, a piece of judgment, there's a bell which rings in your head every time, because you read it comes as something new.
Wow.
And be always a student.
Yeah, very true. Okay. So my last question will be, what legal trends are you currently watching closely that businesses should be more aware of?
There are a lot of legal trends. One is we've heard a lot about technology and privacy, that all the devices are listening. So where it ends, where is the monitoring and siphoning is ending, we should be aware of it. AI governance and the liability framework, because the issue with AI is that you are treating them data sets, and what kind of data sets are going in, whether they're biased, non-biased, what kind of data sets, and there is no liability. There is no liability which can be fixed on AI, because it's just a machine. Then who decides if there is something happens? Who decides, and what gets decided and how it gets decided. So a lot of liability comes on self-governance. So how these things are developed. Then in this world, everything has happened on a global level, and each transaction that you do, each even the Zoom call that we're on is doing. There are a lot of cross-border data transfer which is happening. So how it is happening, what laws are getting tinkered and everything, you should be aware of that. Then, since because of climate change, ESG is also emerging as a very important aspect of law. So I think these are the few things that one should be mindful of.
Beautiful. So let's go to the next round and understand Richa as a person. You have shared about your sister, but let's hear tell us about your family and your formative years.
Uh, Whenever I get asked this question, I somehow not start with me. I start with my forefathers for some reason.
Wow. Please, please. That's very
So both my families, my paternal and maternal side, they were in Pakistan. We are Sindhis, so they transfer. They got shifted. They shifted here after post partition around between 1947 and 50. Once everything was settled down, but we are told that they left big Havelis and everything. I still ache that if we could see what kind of life they had there, what how it was to see, and so that's they traveled here and they settled in Delhi. Some were in some were in UP, some were in Bhopal, and most of them were in Delhi. So my great grandfather, I'm told that my great grandfather and Mr. Amjad Malani were classmates, and then my um, then eventually the families grew. My parents were born, and we're all three generations were born in two generations born and brought up in Delhi. My father was a Danix officer. He retired as a Danix officer. My mother's a homemaker. I have a younger sister, and I have an 8-year-old son. So formative years were very good. We played a lot. We lived in various government colonies, and there were a lot of room to play. And I remember when we were in sixth standard, I think my mom, when I was in sixth standard, my mom enrolled us for swimming. All the summer, it was a summer vacation for 2 months at that time, May and June. So for 2 months, we used to swim. I have my from younger days, my best friend, she and her brother used to come, and summer vacations used to go like that once a year. My From 1993 to 2013, my parents had this ritual of going to Haridwar every year, and we would spend 1 week, 10 days there. So all these are part of my growing up life. I graduated history from Janki Devi College, and it was a lot of fun. I learned from apart from Indian history, I learned European history, fell in love with it. Then I wanted to pursue MBA, but my percentage was not 50. And my father said, just try for law. My father had worked with lawyers for the longest time. My grandfather also worked with a lot of lawyers as a steno. He worked with, in his last days, he was working with ex-Justice Yu Lalit as a steno. And so sincerity, hard works is in our blood. Then after my after I law was just a dad said try it for one semester if you like it. Then after one semester he called up and he said, so what do you decided now? You want to continue or you want to drop and do MBA? I said no, I have decided I'll do litigation. And that didn't change till 2020. I was doing litigation, and post 2020, because of family obligations, I shifted to in-house. Once my son is a little older, I'll go back to litigation.
okay. That excitement role, quote, everything. Wow.
Yeah, it's a very exciting life.
I can understand. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, someone shifted to in-house and again going back. So I would love to have that conversation again, or that next phase is coming up. That will be very interesting because we have seen coffee speakers who have gone from what do you say, law firm to in-house. From in-house, they have gone to a law firm. But you will be the first one ki bhai, from litigation to in-house and going back to the roots. That will be very interesting to see ki how that second phase will be. Because things must have changed now.
I beg your pardon?
Things must have changed when you go back. There will be a lot of changes everywhere.
There will be, of course.
Yeah,
That's the
technology,
people that
everything, work styles. Because now a lot of legal research tools have come in, Jurisphere, Legit Quest, so many. Now colleges have started having tie-ups for law students. Now Jurisphere, Jindal Global, ILS, then apna Nalsar, and other colleges also have their own things to do about equipping, making AI lawyered. So
yeah,
they are
also there.
one of my coffee speakers give this term. Uh, Now we need to be called as AI lawyered, LAW, and
Okay.
then YEREAD. So that was very interesting term he gave to himself. So I'm AI lawyered.
That's nice.
Okay, good one. Okay, so who is the biggest cheerleader from your friends and family?
My biggest cheerleader is my mom.
Hmm.
And my dad is not a person of many words, but when it comes to support, he gives a silent support. So I think he's also a very big supporter, and I'm a big believer, and I big believer of God's grace. So I believe in Krishna. So I think behind everything else, he's the one who's playing everything. He's the one who's handling all the puppets.
Interesting. Yes, very true. So, what's a hobby or activity that helps you disconnect completely from the legal world?
I'm not very good at drawing, but I'm very good at painting with the brush. So,
Mhm.
and I'm very good with embroidery. So, I do that.
Oh, wow. So, do you have any rituals or habits that center you at the start or at the end of the day?
At the end of a hectic day, I sit down, I watch Friends.
Hmm.
Somehow, I don't remember last time. I'm very glad that Netflix has this open policy of having Friends. They don't, the Friends subscription do not, Friends is not something that goes away. Thanks to
Yes.
Netflix on that. So I have Netflix subscription only because of Friends.
Okay.
So I love watching Friends in day out. And when my son was small, he would see Friends in on the TV, and he would come and he knew all the names at that time. He was only
Hmm.
2 years old, but since the
Hmm.
language is not very conducive for him all the time, I don't watch in front of him. I see after he gone to sleep. So
Interesting.
yeah, so I watch. I went down with a cup of coffee, a book, and Friends.
Wow. Good thing. You let me to the next question. What's that book or movie that has that's had a lasting impact on you?
Uh, Very recently, I watched a movie, Secret Agent. It's a very beautiful movie. It's The lead protagonist is Kate Beckinsale, and how she's protecting a source. At the end of the movie, the source is disclosed, and when you see what lengths she's gone through to protect the source, it's a very beautiful movie. Very beautiful movie. And the book which has profound impact on my life is Fountainhead.
Wow. So, can you tell us something about what are the learnings and what is the why did it has a influence on you?
So the male protagonist and the female protagonist are both very revolutionary. I can't. they are kind of rebels and revolutionists. They don't want to be in the basic forms which are formed by the society. They more want to be governed by their work and the passion for their work rather than anything else. And there's one quote which I actually live by. That's again from the book. The book also got made in the movie. It's but I never I love the book so much that I can't watch the movie because somehow sometimes if the movie doesn't deliver, that happens with Harry
Ah,
Potter fans also, that when
yes.
the movie is not able to deliver it, something breaks
Yes.
for some people. It breaks for me, so I never watched the movie. And there is this few uh, scenes in the movie which otherwise might seem very brutal, but at the
Mm.
same time, if you see the depth in those scenes where Howard Roark is actually physically brutal to Dominic, who's the female protagonist. But at the
Yes.
same time, the depth of the character and how the characters are entwined, and how you see, like for some time, there is this Robert Keating, Peter Keating. Peter Keating is one character who is like, he's like an everyday Harry who wants to please everybody. He's a brilliant person, but he's not a person of his own character. He just wants to. He's like a vampire who sucks up blood from other people. So there were so many characters who you can see in your daily life, and how you know what to be and what not to be. And
Wow.
the quote is that the question is not who's going to let me, but who's going to stop me. So that quote, I think, is very liberating in its own sense that there's actually um, not. If you see, it's actually from the outer world also, that there's nobody who's going to stop me, and it also from the inner world that I am also my own friend, best friend, and my own worst enemy. So I think
Wow.
it's very encompassing in its own sense.
Beautiful. So, Richa, suppose you had 1 week with no work, no responsibilities. How would you like to spend and why?
So I'll just spend it with my son and let him do whatever he wants. He'll be the leader, I'll be the follower. He does the best of things. He makes out the
Mhm.
best of the games. So somehow he has this ability because he's small.
Mm.
He's only 8 years old, so he has this ability of enjoying life, and I love to see how he lets us enjoy life. He finds something, a little cup of coffee in a mug. He finds that funny. I don't find it funny, but he finds it funny. So, and
That's true.
we do everything. We paint, then we go play something very basic, something very
Mm.
daily routine. Just because that you don't have the stress of deadlines with you, and that is very enjoyable.
Wow. Beautiful. Okay. So, my last two ones are reflective ones, Richa. What are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
2025, I have this passion project of digital awareness. I'm working on it.
Wow.
Hopefully, I'll be able to make some strides in that. And personally, I want to lose weight and spend more time with my kid.
Wow. So, last one is a googly one. Describe Richa in one line.
So I already did that. I'll do it again. Um, Again, the quote from the fountainhead is the question is who's not going to let me, but who's going to stop me. So sometimes I'm my worst enemy. I'm a very big overthinker. So that's why.
Wow. So let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Uh, you're an early riser or night owl?
Both depends.
Your power song before a big negotiation.
Um, I'm forgetting the song. I'll wear my It's a Hindi song which says "Manre tu kahe na dheer dhare." It's a very sad song, but the wordings are very nice.
Wow, beautiful. Your favorite comfort food after a long day?
Dal chawal, rajma chawal.
Wow. One word that defines you as a legal professional?
Student.
Delhi winters or Mumbai monsoons?
That's a tough one. Delhi winters are fashionable. Bombay monsoon is worth walking.
Wow, wow. Drafting contracts or closing deals?
Appearing before the court. Sorry, I made a third option.
It's fine. Your dream travel place?
Paris and Florence.
Wow. Best piece of advice received?
Uh, be mindful of your answer. The questions are not getting recorded, but your answers are.
Wow. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Coffee always.
Let's raise.
Oh,
Put it properly. Green one and green. Wow, what a combination. And here's your book, Shaping the Lawyer. And it will help you when you go back to your litigation and inspire all. So it's an inspiring journey conversation I had with Richa Bharadwaj, who is a doting mother, and she will again go back to the, what do you say, high action world of litigation. And we wish her the best in a 15 years journey. She started from litigation, now in-house, a lot of work she has done, M&A deals, now cross culture, cross border, so many things. And uh, so all those young legal professionals watch the episode as she's upskilling herself and uh, have your passions, look after your family. So, like, there are fine coffee speakers who have this inspiring journey in professional, personal world. Watch, subscribe, implement all those insights which have been shared. And if you have any featured like Richa, visit our website, the Emerging India Forum, or LinkedIn, uh, the Emerging India Forum company page, or connect with our coffee speakers. They would put in a word to continue our conversation or cup of coffee. Thank you.